Hello students, in this video today we are going to revise Civics chapter number 4, Key Elements of a Democratic Government. So the chapter starts with the example of South Africa. So now South Africa had apartheid, which means that there was separation on the basis of the race in Africa. South Africa was divided into white, black, Indian, and colored races. Please remember this. And according to the law, these races were not allowed to mingle or get together with each other, or to live near each other, or to even use common facilities. Now, under these apartheid era or apartheid time, there was separation of everything. For example, separate hospitals, separate ambulances. There were separate trains and buses and even bus stops, which were different for black people and the white people. The non-white people, that is including blacks, Indians, and other people, were not allowed to vote. So basically in South Africa, people were not treated with equality. And other things included, the best type of land in the country was only given or reserved for the white people, and non-whites had to live on the worst available land. Thus, blacks and colored people were not considered to be equal to the whites. So please remember this thing. Now, Afrikaans was a language in Africa. This was the language that the white people spoke, with the language Afrikaans. Now, what happened was that there was a boy. His name was Hector Peterson. And what happened that the government made studies compulsory in Afrikaans language. Now, this language was not the language of black people. Their language was Zulu. They wanted to study in Zulu language. So, when these students, when they protested against this type of law, the South African police beat up the protesters mercilessly and shot at the crowd. And one of the bullets killed Hector Peterson on June 1976. Please remember the year and the date. Now, the African National Congress was a group of people who led the struggle against apartheid, and their most well known leader was Nelson Mandela, who fought the apartheid system for several years. Finally, they succeeded, and in 1994, South Africa became a democratic country in which people of all the races were considered equal. So, equality is a very essential feature of a democratic government. Now, the participation of people in a democracy is very important. So, how do people participate? They participate through regular elections, through these elections, people vote and elect the leaders. These leaders are also called representatives, who represent the people. Now these representatives take decision on the behalf of the people, these people who have chosen them or voted for them. In doing so, they keep in mind the voices and the interests of the people. Now, in India, the government is elected for 5 years. Please remember the time period. Once elected, governments can stay in power for only 5 years. If they want to continue to be in power, then they have to be re-elected by the people in the next elections. And it is when people can actually, if they want, change their decisions if they are not happy with the government. Now, besides elections, there are other ways of participating for the people. People participate by taking an interest in the working of the government and by criticizing it whenever required. Criticizing means questioning the government. Now, there are many ways in which people express their views and make governments understand what actions should be taken. These include dharnas, rallies, strikes, signature campaigns, etc. Things that are unfair and unjust are also brought forward with the help of media, which includes newspapers, magazines, television, and today social media. Now, the fact remains that democracy allows all the people to participate, but it is also true that sometimes not all sections of the people are actually able to participate. So, another way of another way for people to participate is by organizing themselves into social movements that seek to challenge the government and its functioning. Now, the members of minority community, Dalits, Adivasis, women and others are often able to participate in this manner. In which manner? By organizing themselves into social movement. Now, another important topic is need to resolve conflict. Now, the fact remains that in a democracy, there are many groups of people living together. So, sometimes what happens is that conflicts occur when people of different cultures, religion, regions, or economic backgrounds do not get along with each other, or when some among them feel that they are being discriminated against. So, because of these conflicts, sometimes people may use violence or violent means to settle their differences. Now, this leads to fear and tension among the people. So, it is the duty of the government to resolve these conflicts. Sometimes religious processions and celebrations can lead to conflicts. And for example, the route or the path to procession takes may lead to a conflict. The government, particularly the police, plays an important role in getting the communities to celebrate their functions in peacefully without using any violence. The police is responsible for ensuring that violence does not take place. Now, sometimes simple things like rivers can actually become a source of conflict between two states. In India, the water of river Kaveri has led to dispute between the state of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. The water stored in Krishna Raja Sagar Dam in Karnataka is used for irrigating a number of districts. For meeting the needs of city of Bengaluru, the water stored in Mettur Dam in Tamil Nadu is used for crops grown in delta region of that state. Now, a conflict arises because both dams are on the same river. The downstream dam in Tamil Nadu can only be filled up if the water is released from the upstream ones located in Karnataka. So now, because of simple thing like river water, these two states are in conflict with each other. So now the central government has to step in to see that the water is distributed in a fair manner in both the states. So basically, central government is trying to resolve or solve this conflict. Two very important elements of democracy are equality and justice. Equality and justice are inseparable, which means that they go hand in hand. The earlier practice of untouchability is now banned by law, leading to equality. Now, the people belonging to untouchability lower castes were banned or denied education, transport of medical facilities, or even chance to visit temples and offer prayers. Now, leaders like Dr. Ambedkar and many others like him realized that these type of practices such as untouchability should not continue, and justice can only be achieved in a country only if people are treated with equality or people are treated equally. Now, the government also recognizes this, and special provisions or programs for groups within the society which are unequal are made. For example, in our society, there are there is a tendency to value and care for the boy child more than the girl child. This means that society does not value girl and boy child equally. And this is not just, or this is unjust. So what happens in this situation is that government steps in to promote justice by providing special provisions that can enable girls to overcome injustice that they have been subjected to. For example, government has reduced fees for the girls in government schools or colleges, which leads to more girls getting an opportunity to get education. Let us now look at the questions in this chapter. First question is, how would Maya's life be different in South Africa today? Today in South Africa, there is a democratic government which treats people with equality and justice. Unlike the time, unlike 30, 40 years back, she would be able to use all the public facilities. There are no apartheid laws. She would be getting the same type of healthcare facilities, same type of education, and there is no separation between the people of different races. Let us look at question number 2. What are various ways in which people participate in the process of government? The first way is through the direct method, through elections and votings, and there are other methods also by through which people participate. They are dharnas, rallies, strikes, and signature campaigns. And media here also plays an important role. And sometimes people also participate by organizing themselves into social movement. For example, members of minority community, Dalit, Adivasis, women, etc. participate in this manner. So this is the answer for the. Now, question number 3. Why do you think we need the government to find solutions to many disputes of conflict? Why? Because conflicts and disputes sometimes lead to violence. Violence leads to fear and tension in the society. So, to remove such kind of thing from the society, it's very important that government finds solution to the conflicts and disputes of the people. Now, question number 4. What actions does the government take to ensure that all people are treated equally? Now, government makes sure that equality is reached to all the people of the country. For example, in India, the government has banned practice of untouchability, which did not allow people to live with equality. So the government bans certain practices which are unjust, and another thing is that the government also comes up with special programs which help the people who are not treated equally. For example, girl child, poor people, minority communities, etc. So with this, we come to the end of the revision of this chapter.